Yeah, good morning, friends. Welcome back. So before we move to the installation part, let us have some quick revision here. So we were comparing computer and server hardware, right? And we know now like both the hardware are same. At least the components are same. Component size and speed can be different, but same components will be there in computer as well as server. Like there is a motherboard, processor, RAM, hard disk, NIC card, okay, power supply. This components will be there in computer, laptop, as well as in a server. Okay, that is one thing. The second thing is to run whether a computer or a server. To run a computer or a server, we need to have one operating system. So now for a computer, there is some special operating system design, and for a server, there is some special operating system design. Both have operating system. Many features in this operating systems, maybe they are same, but still, we have some differences there. So let us see the differences between client OS and server OS. Okay, so see here, please. So what is OS? First of all, OS is interface between user and a hardware. Okay, fine. That is a very simple definition. These are the two major operating systems we have. One is from Microsoft company, another is from Unix. Okay, more than 90% cases we go with either Microsoft OS or Unix OS, right? Now, these operating systems, whether from Microsoft or Unix, they are divided into two types. One is your client operating system, another one is your server operating system. So these are the examples of client operating systems. I will add the latest one, Windows 11 also. Okay, but whatever you see from Windows 7, XP, Vista, all these are outdated. Okay, so what is outdated that we will try to understand today. And coming to server OS, there are two server OS we have majorly. One is from Microsoft. It is called Windows Server Operating Systems. Okay, so 2019, 16, and 22. And one more is added very recently, that is 2022. So these are the operating systems we have. But still, most of the companies, they go with 12, 16, or maybe like some companies, they can still go with 2019. Okay, so 2008 and before 2008, these operating systems are outdated. And coming to Unix, like Linux, Solaris, HP, all these are the OS. And again, within Linux, we have many other flavors. Like yesterday, we have seen Red Hat Linux, Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, Kali, okay, CentOS, Amazon OS. Like there are many other versions available there, right? So we can go with any of these. Okay, fine. One more thing. Whether it is client operating system or server operating system is not free. We have to pay and we have to use. Okay, coming to Windows operating system, it is free for 180 days. Whenever they release a new operating system or whatever operating system is available from Microsoft, they will offer that operating system for free for 180 days. That is around 6 months. So in next 180 days, you can use the operating system, you can test the applications, you can run the operating system. If everything is working fine, then you can pay money and you can use. Or if you want to pay money on day one also you can pay money. It's not like you have to use 180 days for free, then we have to pay money. But the option is available from there. Okay. Now, once the free period is over, the testing period is over, then for client operating system, approximately we have to pay like $120. In some countries it can be like $80. In some countries it can be $100. In some countries it can be like even $150. It depends on the country where you're living. That is the one thing. And the second thing is, suppose in a company, if there are 1,000 computers, so we need to buy how many license here? We need to buy 1,000 license for this client operating system. So when you buy 1,000 license for this client operating system, then obviously we will get some discount. Maybe we will get an operating system in around $35 to $40. But still, we have to pay money. For your personal computer, you have to pay money. And in a company, for all the computers, the company will pay money and purchase the license. Okay. This is the second thing that we need to know. What is outdated means and what is the license? All these things we will discuss now. But anyhow, we have to pay money for client operating system. For server operating system, friends, or Windows Server operating system, it will be something like $1,500 up to like $5,000 and more than $5,000 actually. That is some money, right? 3,000 for $5,000 in Indian currency will be how much? Nearly 4 lakh Indian rupees. So that is quite a money, right? So you're using this Windows Server operating system by paying that much money. Okay. Now, what if we use the operating system that is called pirated operating system? You know the meaning of piracy, right? Normally, you know, when you watch movies, they come to you and they say like, don't watch pirated movies and all those things. Pirated means a copy of the original copy or a duplicate copy of a original copy. Like, you know, when you go out and see, there are some t-shirts and there are some shoes which you get like similar like Nike. Okay, but it is not from the Nike company. It is just a replica of it. It is a pirated shoes or pirated t-shirt. So in the same way, there are some pirated operating system. So what exactly pirated operating system means? See, suppose I have taken the operating system, I paid the money, I paid $4,000, $2,000, whatever. Then what I do, I just make a copy of this DVD into another DVD and I just sell this operating system to the other people. So other people, they feel like they are purchasing a new OS, but it is not the new. You're not purchasing from Microsoft, right? So that is your pirated operating system. Making a copy of the software and selling in the market, that is called pirated. No person has this authority. Okay, if you're a partner of Microsoft, if you have license to sell that product, then that's a business. Okay, so you're taking the product from Microsoft and you're selling the product to some other person or some other company. So that is a business. But if you're not having any license from Microsoft, if you're not having any permission from Microsoft, and still if you're selling that product, that comes under pirated. So we should never use a pirated operating system in our computer. Maybe that is a personal computer or maybe it is a company's computer. Okay, pirated operating system will be from client and as well as in server. You know, if you are using a pirated operating system, anytime the Microsoft people can come to you and they can check your machine. Normally, they won't go to the personal computer like you're using a computer in your home. They will not come to you, but they can go to any company actually, because in companies, there are many computers, tens and maybe hundreds or even thousands of computers, and there are many servers. So they can just go there and they can filter, they can check whether you're using the original operating system or not. And if they find out, like suppose you're using a pirated OS, if they found out like if you're using a pirated OS, they can seize your company. It's a crime. Using a pirated operating system or pirated software is a crime. We simply cannot use that operating system or any other application in our company. Okay, so this is what we have to pay. This is not fixed, like I said, this is like, you know, around $120. But again, if you take license for many computers, then the cost of that particular machine will go down. That the cost of that particular operating system will go down. Okay, fine. So now we know if we use a pirated operating system, the Microsoft company can come and they can like, you know, seize your company. But what are the other disadvantages of using a pirated operating system? The other disadvantages are you will not get any updates. You know, updates are very, very important part of any software. See, when you go with your mobile phone, every now and then you see WhatsApp update or your mobile phone Android update or maybe Facebook update. The updates will come, right? Like if you go with your Google Pay or, you know, Phone Pay or Paytm, whatever app you're using, every month, every 40 days, every 15 days, you'll get a message there. The message will be there are new updates available. So kindly update your app. So what are these updates here? Updates means you're getting new features, and whatever bugs are available, whatever issues are available, those issues will be removed. So updates are very, very important. So if you are using a pirated OS, there are no updates available for you. What is there are no updates available for you? That is one disadvantage. Second one is virus. Your machine is not so protected. Okay, if you install antivirus in your machine, still it is not so protected because the operating system itself is a pirated operating system. It is not getting all the security features there. Okay, so easily virus can come. Third disadvantage is like security. It is more easy for a hacker to get into your machine. Okay, so using pirated operating systems have many disadvantages. These are some of the most common disadvantages. So whether it is server OS or whether it is client OS, see 99% cases, no one will use a pirated OS in server OS. I'm saying 99% cases. Because what is server? Server is a very special machine, right? Which contains all the information of your company. It contains all the information of your business actually. Okay. So 99% cases no one will use the pirated operating system in your server machine. They go with the genuine operating system only. And now because of the cloud computing, the cost of the server and the cost of the operating system, it went down to like, 90%. Instead of spending $100, now companies are spending only $10 in a way. So majority of people, nearly 99% people or 99% companies, they are not using a pirated operating system in server. Okay, but still there are some companies there, and there are some people, or there are some computers in a company where the pirated operating system can be there. So just remember one thing, it is a very risky business to use a pirated operating system. Pay and use. And one of the biggest advantage we have is we will get support. What is support? Support means, if there is some problem in your Windows Server OS, okay, you as administrator, you can troubleshoot something. As administrator, you can troubleshoot only few things. There are many more issues which you cannot troubleshoot. It's very difficult for any person to troubleshoot each and everything in a server. So in case if there is a problem which you're not able to troubleshoot, okay, you can go to Google or YouTube and you can search for the solution there. But still there are some options, or still there are some issues for which maybe there is no solution available on Google or YouTube also. Then what to do? Then just we can contact the Microsoft people, because your server is a paid server. So they can access your server and they can help you in troubleshooting that particular problem. They will help you actually, not they can, they will help you in troubleshooting that particular problem. So we will get support also if you use a genuine operating system. So pirated operating system, no support, no update, okay, less security and more virus. And coming to genuine operating system, it is completely opposite. Support, updates, less virus and more security. These are the advantages we have of server OS. These are the advantages we have of the genuine OS. Whether it is server OS or client OS, doesn't matter. These are the advantages of your genuine operating system. Okay. Now, to do practicals, to do MCSE practicals, we should have this server operating system here. Windows Server 2012 or Windows Server 2016. So from where you can get this Windows Server 12, 16 or 19? So hopefully before the end of the session, I will show you from where you can download the server operating system. Now, the operating system that I'm asking you to download, is it a pirated operating system or a genuine operating system? It is 100% a genuine operating system. Remember I told you, Microsoft will allow you to use the operating system for 180 days without paying money. It is free. So that operating system is available, and that operating system we can download and we can do all practicals. So there is no need for us to purchase a server operating system for practicals. Got it? We'll see that. We'll see that how to do that and how to install. Okay, so I hope everything is clear now. The server OS and the client OS. Okay, what versions we have in client OS, what versions we have in server OS, and what is this, update and privacy means and security means and all those things. Okay. Server OS is again divided into like GUI and CLI. GUI means graphical user interface. CLI means command line interface. I hope you know the difference between GUI and CLI. GUI that we are using right now, graphics. CLI means it will be like this, only commands. Like suppose if I say ipconfig, I'm getting some output here. If I say like get mac, I'm getting some output here. If I say like net accounts, I'm getting some output here. If I say exit, I'll just exit. So that is CLI. So whenever you think of a Unix or a Linux operating system, this Unix or Linux operating system is actually CLI. Actually, it is more famous for CLI. And whenever you hear the terminology graphical user interface, Graphical user interface is Windows. Graphical user interface is Windows. So normally whenever you think of a graphical operating system, we think of your Windows operating system. See, right now I'm using Windows 10 here. And what you see here, you see all graphics. I can right click, I can say new, I can create a folder, or I can create a file here. Okay, I can do everything by using my mouse here, right? I can right click, or I can double click on this PC, I can open this PC. So this is called graphical user interface. But you know, Windows operating system, we can configure everything in CLI also. Linux operating system, there are like, you know, graphical interfaces also. But Windows is more famous for graphics and Linux is more famous for commands. Like, you know, whenever people talk about India, sports in India, they talk about cricket, right? But, you know, beside cricket, we have like football team also, we have hockey team also, we have like tennis player also. Yeah, like many other sports, right? But you know, whenever people talk about India, they say, oh, India is famous for cricket. This is something like this. Windows is more famous for graphics, but Windows can be configured in CLI also. Okay. Linux is more famous for commands, but Linux can be configured in graphics also. Okay. So it can be CLI, it can be GUI. See, when you move in your career right now, you know, most of the people, they don't like commands, right? They feel like, oh, why we need to remember commands? It's not so easy to remember commands and so and so. But you know, once you move in your career after like maybe 1 year, 2 years, or maybe like 2.5 years, you will feel more comfortable using commands than graphics actually. Commands are very easy to use. Commands will be like, you know, the configuration will be very less. So commands will work in a better way compared to graphics. So maybe as a fresher, as of now, you may feel like, okay, graphics is much better. But you know, like I said, you in coming years, you feel more attached to the CLI compared to the GUI. Okay, CLI is always better. You know, when you configure routers and switches and firewalls, whenever you talk about Cisco devices like router, switch, and firewall, these devices we can configure by using commands. So whenever you are learning CCNA or whenever you are learning the router commands and the switch commands, no one is complaining there about the commands because they know it is about commands only. So it's just a mindset here. Whenever they use the Windows, they feel like, okay, Windows means it is all about graphics. But again, what I said to you, Windows Server operating system can be configured by using commands also. So we'll see commands also. It will take like one class for us to see all the commands. There are like around 40, 45 commands I have added there. So those commands we will see when we go with the administration part. Done. So GUI and CLI, these are the two operating systems available. Okay, there is a question here like why you mentioned Linux is partially free. Explain. Yeah, see here I said Linux is partially free, right? You know, normally people feel Linux is a free operating system. Whenever people talk about Windows, they say like Windows, we need to pay a lot of money and blah, 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 all these things. And whenever they talk about Linux, they say like, oh, Linux is completely free or Linux is a free operating system. Linux is not completely free operating system. Actually, the concept is the Unix kernel is free. We can use the Unix, like, you know, I can say in general terminology, Unix has a formula. That particular formula is free. You can use that formula and you can make a operating system for yourself. Okay, that is free. So what Linux people have done, Linux people have taken the formula from Unix and they have created a new Linux operating system. And they said, okay, this Linux operating system is free. But if there is some problem in this Linux operating system, you should take support from us. Remember, like 5 minutes before I told you, no administrator can configure everything in a company. No administrator can troubleshoot everything in a company. That's literally not possible. Okay. So if there is a problem in your server operating system, Linux server operating system, then you should take support from the Linux people. So then they charge some money. So anyhow, we have to pay money at some point. It is not free forever. Using is free. If you know how to operate and all those things, that is free. But still, you know, whenever there is a problem or whenever you need some updates, something like that, then we have to pay some money and we have to use it or get some support from that particular Linux. Okay, there is a question here like, will you provide a project? Can fresher get a job in CCNA and MCSE? Okay, MCSE and CCNA is majorly for freshers, first of all, Suraj. And project wise, yes, I'll provide you some projects. I'll provide you one lab scenario. According to lab scenario, you can do the configurations. You can do practice. Not only in MCSE, I'll do that in CCNA also. Okay. And the next CCNA batch will start hopefully next week. Okay, but coming to this, coming to our MCSE and CCNA projects, of course, we have some projects. Of course, I'll provide you some interview questions and answers. I'll give some scenarios. I'll give some, questions to like practice in your home. I'll do all those things. Linux also have GUI. Of course, Linux also have GUI, Pradeep. It has graphical user interface also. That is the reason I said Linux is more famous for commands. Windows is more famous for graphics. But in Linux, we have graphics. In Windows, we have commands. But where it is more famous, it is more famous in CLI. Okay, so what is the career path in this field? So there is one more very good question coming here. Actually, we have seen this in the first class, but anyhow, what is the career path in this field? Means, once you finish MCSE, CCNA, where you can move? I think that is what your question is, right? Okay, so once you finish your MCSE and CCNA, you have some options like you can go to like virtualization, you can go to like security, okay? You can go to cloud computing. You have many options available once you finish these two courses. So right now, the starting will be like Windows Server Administration and the network administration. Then you have many options like you can go with, like I said, your security, cloud computing, virtualization. If you want to go with like database, you can go with database. So I have covered all the major technologies here, right? So you are eligible to join or you are eligible to make a career in any of these paths. I'll just write here so that you can see this and you can remember this for very long. I'm saying once you finish this, you can go with cloud computing, which is quite a famous right nowadays, cloud computing, or you can go with security. When I say security, I'm talking about all sort of securities like cyber security, internet security, firewall security, whatever. I'm talking about all the security. Then we have virtualization. These are the three major options we have. So Suraj, you can choose any of this option and you can just, see yourself in this networking field for next 12, 15, or maybe like 20 years. Done. So my personal suggestion will be, see, it's up to the person's interest. I cannot say a person to do this or do that. I can say like, okay, if you do MCSE in CCNA, that is okay, great for you. I can say that much. You should do these two courses. I can do that much. But after completing MCSE, CCNA, what to do? It is up to your interest. See, in MCSE and CCNA, you will get the knowledge of security, cloud, and virtualization. You will get the introduction of all the three technologies. So once you get the introduction of these three technologies, it will be easy for you to select a technology for yourself. But I can say one thing, better choose cloud computing or security. These are the two options available. See, when I say cloud computing, it is not only one course. And when I say security, it is not one course. There are many more things available in cloud computing and many more things available in security. So if you want to take a suggestion from me, I'll suggest you to either go with cloud computing or security after completing your MCSE and CCNA. First of all, you can apply for a job on MCSE and CCNA directly. Okay. Every company, they need a person who can manage servers, routers, and switches. Every company on the face of the earth. But still, career is not, only till MCSE or CCNA. We need to go beyond MCSE and CCNA, right? We need to improve ourselves. So if you want to improve ourselves, if you want to learn some technologies, new technologies, then these are the two options available. Done. So let us move back and let us see some other things now. Yeah, Deepti, this is actually a second session. Already like 1 or 2 sessions we have completed. One was the seminar, second was the demo session. This is a second demo session. So whatever we have done till now, we have the recorded classes. So once we finish our course, management will share the recorded classes with you. Okay, we have not yet started our administration part or the main classes. We are still in very basics. I'm assuming like people who come for MCSE, majority of people will be freshers. So whenever I start MCSE, I need to start from the very basics, very scratch actually. So this is a very, very basic session. I have completed one more basic session before this. So all the recorded classes, whoever is a fresher here, whoever is joining for the first time, the recorded classes are available and we will share the recorded classes with you once we finish this session. Done? Okay, so yeah, thanks for asking. And friends, chat box is always open. It will be great for our session. It will be, I repeat again, it will be very, very great for our session if you keep on asking me questions. Okay, 1 or 2 days, the questions can come from anywhere actually. These are like demo sessions, right? So you may ask me a question like what is cloud, or you may ask me a question like what is security. So the questions will come from everywhere. But once we move into the administration, 99% questions will come according to the topics. So the chat box is always open for you. Whenever there is a question, whenever there is a doubt in your mind, please send me a question so that I can address the question. That question can help you as well as it will help all the other people in the class. So asking questions should be one of the things you should do till the last session of our course. Okay, it will be great for me also actually, because I know how much you're getting and how much you're understanding. So how deep I can go, I can understand all those things also. Fine. Yeah, let us move now. Okay, fine. So see here again, hardware, operating system, application. What is application? What is services? All these things we will see in coming classes. But as of now, let us just concentrate more on our operating system. So we know the types, we know what is the use of operating system. We know the types of operating systems and we know the versions of operating systems. Done. We have covered all the major things here. Now let us see how to install the operating system. See, last time, remember I showed you in our yesterday's class, I showed you many servers. Let me show you some more servers here. Dell servers. Most of the people will use Dell computers or Dell laptop. Right now, I'm using a Dell computer here. Means a computer that is designed by the Dell company. Okay. Maybe you're using a Dell laptop. Maybe someone is using a HP laptop. Maybe someone is using a Toshiba or a Lenovo laptop. So these companies that manufacture your laptops, computers, the same companies will manufacture your servers actually. So see, once I said Dell servers, can you see all the servers here now? Okay, this is a used server actually, but still it is costing you nearly 2 lakh rupees. That is huge money, right? This server is around 57,000 rupees. Let us compare these two machines now. So see, nearly 2 lakh rupees, 1,92,000 rupees. So what we have in this server, we have like two processors here. Okay, memory can be updated up to 3 TB. That's huge, friends. Storage capacity is 131.6 TB, 131 TB. Normally we are using 1 TB in our computers and laptops, right? Maybe some people are even using 500 GB. Some may be using 2 TB. 2 TB is a huge hard disk. But see, this is supporting how much now? This server is supporting 131 TB of hard disk. Okay, so we have like some more chipset information and all the other technical things here. But I want to show you one thing here. Okay, this is actually old machine, so I may not show you here. But if you go to this machine, okay, this is a new machine. So it is looking like your desktop machine only, right? But this is actually a server machine. It is not a desktop, friend. This is a server. Remember I told you, desktop and server, they look exactly same. Server will be a bit bigger than desktop, but outside and inside, they look exactly same. So we have some configuration here. And if I go to the specifications in more details, Okay, this is just a website, I guess. So I'll just go and search for some other machines like HP servers. Okay, what I want to show you here is these servers have a certain hardware, but whenever you take a server, it will be clearly mentioned in that server specification that the operating system is not included. I repeat, whenever you take a server, it will be written clearly there like the operating system is not included. I have shown you the Dell servers. I have shown you the HP servers now. Let us go and see the IBM server. Again, a very, very big company. We know this. So if you go to this IBM servers, like there are many servers we have, many, configurations, different configurations and all those things. Anyhow, so all these are different companies that manufacture your servers. So what I'm trying to say here is whenever you take a server, friends, the server will come as a hardware machine. There is no operating system available in that server. There is no Windows operating system or there is no Linux operating system. Like I said, you 90% cases or even 95% cases in server, we use Windows OS, that is 2012, 19, 16, whatever, or we go with the Linux OS, 90 to 95% cases all over the globe. Okay. So when you take a server hardware, you're spending 2 lakh rupees, 3 lakh rupees, or maybe like 10 lakh rupees. It depends on the configuration. You're just purchasing the server hardware. In that server hardware, there is no server operating system. So from where we have to take server operating system? We have to go to like Microsoft.com website, or we have to go to like Linux.com website. We have to go to Linux or Microsoft. From there, we have to download and we have to pay money for that operating system. So hardware is from one company and operating system is from one company. Now, once you bring the hardware and once you take the operating system, now next work that we have to do as administrator is install the operating system into your computer or install the operating system into your server. I repeat, server has some components like there is a motherboard, there is a processor, there is a RAM, and there is a component called hard disk. We all know hard disk very well because we know we save the data in hard disk only, right? Hard disk is a permanent storage device. So server also has a hard disk, but see, server hard disk will be all empty. There is nothing in that server hard disk. So what we have to do, take the operating system DVD or take the operating system as a file and install the operating system into the server or a computer. Then only the server or a computer will work. If you're not installing any operating system in the computer, computer is just a hardware machine. Server is just a hardware machine. It will not work until and unless we are not installing that operating system. The hardware will not work. So how to do that installation is this process actually. So can you see this terminology here? Booting. Booting is a terminology we use. Normally, when people switch on the computer, normal people, they say like the computer is coming up. But we should not say the computer is coming up. We should say the computer is booting. Booting is a process of installing the operating system, or booting is a process of loading the operating system. Got it? This process is called booting process. So let us try to understand the booting process in more details. It's a very, very important part we need to understand here, friends. Okay. So there is a hard disk here. There is a RAM. Every device has a hard disk as well as a RAM. What is the difference between hard disk and a RAM? First of all, hard disk is a storage, RAM is a storage. We know this very well, right? Hard disk is a storage, RAM is a storage. But the difference here is hard disk is a permanent storage, RAM is a temporary storage. I repeat, hard disk is a permanent storage and RAM is a temporary storage. So if you go to this Google, for example, I'm in Google, or suppose I went to this YouTube. Let us say I'm in Durgasoft channel now. I'm just connected to Durgasoft. See, I can see many videos here uploaded recently. And coming to our MCSE class, it is uploaded yesterday. So we can see all these videos here, right? So I can just open a video and I can watch this particular video. I can do that. Like suppose there is a video on core Java. I can just click on this core Java and I can watch this video. Okay, now my question here is, can you please tell me from where exactly this video is running in your machine? I just went to YouTube. I just open a video from our institute Durgasoft and I'm running this video. So can you please tell me from where exactly this video is running from your machine? There are many components in machine, right? Like motherboard, processor, RAM and hard disk. So from where it is running? Exactly, Ranjesh. It is running from your random access memory. It is running from your RAM. It is running from your RAM. But suppose imagine there is an option here to download this software. So once you download this software or once you download this video, then the video will be downloaded into your hard disk. That is a very simple difference we need to understand. I repeat, right now the video is running from your RAM. But if you want to download this video, then the video will go into your hard disk. If you're not downloading, like suppose if you just say like close. If you just close this particular website here, I'm saying close here, and this also I'm saying close. So once you close this, it has like deleted from your machine. No, it is not available. It was running from RAM and you have closed it, so it will be erased from your RAM. Now it will not, you will not find that particular video in your hard disk. But once you download, then it will be available in your hard disk. Okay, now you can see there is the operating system running here. My operating system is Windows 10 operating system here. Now, can you please tell me, friends, in your computer, where exactly is the operating system running? Where exactly is the location of your operating system in your computer? It's a very tricky question, friends. So please think and answer me. Where is your operating system loaded in your computer? Computer or laptop, whatever. Where is the operating system loaded or installed? I can say loading, or I can say install in your computer. Okay, I got an answer here as RAM. That is not correct actually. Motherboard, no. Motherboard, actually there is no configuration. Exactly. This operating system is available in hard disk. Where is your OS loaded or installed? It is loaded or installed in your hard disk. Now, can you please tell me in hard disk where it is available now? In hard disk, whether it is Windows 10 or Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Linux or anything. In hard disk, where it is available? Exactly. C drive. No, BIOS is different, Pradeep. What is BIOS? We will see, but it is not there in BIOS. You know, every computer has a C drive. Let me just show you here. See, this is my PC, and can you see this C drive? And can you see the Windows icon is here? Okay, that means my operating system is running in my C drive. Your operating system will be running in your C drive. Every computer operating system or every server operating system is running in C drive only. Got it? It is running in C drive only. Now, note, hard disk is a raw device. Raw device means there is nothing in the hard disk. So from where the operating system came in my hard disk, and from where the C partition came, D partition came, E partition came. Now this is what your installation is all about. You have to take the Windows DVD or a CD or whatever and do the installation in your computer. So when you do the installation in your computer, you're installing this operating system in the hard disk. And in that hard disk, if it is suppose 500 GB, we make some partitions and we make a C partition, D partition, E partition, and we can go with like more partitions there, right? So we just make a partition, and in that partition, what we do? In that partition, we install our operating system. So by default, the operating system is installed in hard disk in C partition. So once we install the operating system in a hard disk, now it is not a raw machine. It is not a raw device. It is working now. Got it? I repeat, we take OS DVD, then install OS in hard disk. In hard disk in C drive. This is the way your computer will start working. So once you take a computer or a server, there is nothing in computer or a server. It is an empty machine, no operating system, nothing. So we have to take the operating system from Windows or from Microsoft or from Linux and all those things. Then we have to install the operating system in our hard disk. And in this hard disk, it will make the C partition, and the other partitions like D, E, F, etc. we can save our data, that is files and folders. But C is the partition where it will come. Okay. Now see, this process is called booting or installation. So see what happens now. Hard disk is an empty machine. So what we have done, we have taken the OS DVD or ISO image. What is ISO image? I will tell you. But OS DVD, we have taken operating system DVD, and then we have done the installation in our hard disk. We have done the installation in our hard disk. That's it. My computer is ready. Now, once you switch on the computer, you know what happens now? The operating system from your hard disk, it will go to RAM. This is the process of a machine. Take the operating system DVD, install the operating system in the hard disk, and from hard disk, the operating system will go to RAM. Once you power on that machine, maybe it is a computer, laptop, server, router, switch, firewall, any device, maybe your mobile phone. Mobile phone also has a OS, right? That is your Android OS. It is there inside your flash. Mobile phone has something like a hard disk. It's not hard disk, but it is something like a hard disk where we can save data permanently. It is called flash. So once you power on the mobile phone, the operating system from your flash, it will go to RAM in your mobile phone. So same process will happen in each and every device. Okay. So right now I can switch on the machine. So once I switch on the machine, my operating system, my Windows 10 operating system, which is there permanently in my hard disk, it will go from hard disk to RAM. So whatever you see right now in my machine, it is running from RAM. That's it. It is running from random access memory. Okay. So once I power off this machine, once I switch off this machine, what happens? Whatever is there in RAM, everything will go back to hard disk. That is called power off. So whatever configurations, whatever applications, whatever operating system is available in RAM, it will go back to the hard disk. Then the machine will go down. Next time when I switch on the machine again, that is again a computer, laptop, server, whatever, the operating system is available in hard disk, which is a permanent storage. So from this hard disk, the operating system will go into RAM. So again, you can see the screen like this. Again, you can start working there. This is the life of a machine. Hard disk to RAM. And when you shut down the machine, RAM to hard disk. You know, sometimes due to power failure, due to power cut, the machine will go down suddenly, right? You know, there is a way to shut down this machine. We know how to shut down. Just go to this power option. And once you go to power option, there is a shutdown option here, right? So we can shut down. So when you say shut down, you're asking the operating system, which is there in RAM, to go back to the hard disk. So we are asking him, or we are asking the operating system to go back to the hard disk. So from RAM, it will go back to the hard disk. That is your permanent storage. But due to power failure, this shutdown option will not work, right? The power is disconnected now. The machine will go down suddenly. So when the machine is going down suddenly, it will miss some files. The operating system will not be saved properly in the hard disk because suddenly the power is off. So next time when you switch on the machine, you will get some errors. Got it? You will get some errors. So always we need to shut down the operating system from here, or we need to shut down the machine from here. Just go to power option and say shut down. So once you shut down like this, then you know the operating system which is running in RAM, it will go to hard disk. I hope you understood this process here, friends. Hard disk to RAM and RAM to hard disk. But before the operating system enters in RAM, it should be there in hard disk. So from where it will come in hard disk? We are the people who should do the installation. That is the main point. We have to take the operating system DVD and do the installation in the hard disk. So once you do the installation, then only the operating system will go into the RAM. So please take your time here, 30 seconds. This is a very, very, very important part of your career to understand how the operating systems are working, how the operating systems are loaded, from where it is coming, where to download, all these things we need to understand carefully. So please take 30 seconds just to revise everything. If you have any doubts, then hopefully we can clear everything, then we can move to the next part. Okay, fine. So I hope the concept is clear. So let us move and let us see some other things now. So from where we can take the operating system? Can you see here? Operating system can come in a DVD. Means, we can just go to Google here. And I can say Windows Server 2016 ISO. DVD. I can take this DVD here. Windows Server 2016 DVD. Okay. Now see. Okay, there is a question here, like, is it convention we follow to load OS in C drive, partition in hard disk, or the mandatory step? Please let me know. Okay, good question. See, when you install the operating system, it will make some partitions, like we can make C, D, E, F, like 4, 5 partition. But I can say it is mandatory for us to install the operating system in C. It is mandatory for us to install the operating system in C. But in a single computer, we can install multiple operating systems, like 2, 3, 4 operating systems we can install. So if you want to install the second operating system in a computer, like suppose we install Windows 10, already there is Windows 10. Now you want to install Windows Server also there in the same machine. That is possible. We can install 2 operating systems in a single machine. But the first operating system we already install in C drive, right? So can I install the second operating system again in C drive? No. Second operating system I cannot install in C drive. Second operating system I need to install in D drive. Second operating system I need to install in D drive. Okay, but the first operating system is mandatory to install in C. Done? Okay, fine. So this is your Windows Server DVD. See, we can take a DVD like this. This is actually your real DVD. And what we can do in this DVD, the operating system will be available, and we can take this DVD and we can do the installation. Fine. We can do the installation in our machine. Okay, there is one more question here, like C and D both primary. Yeah, C and D both will be primary. If you install 2 operating systems, then C and D, both the operating systems, both the partitions will be the primary partitions. Okay, now, so if you take this DVD here, friends, we can get scratches on DVD easily, right? So once you get a scratch on DVD, it is very difficult for us to use that particular DVD. So what we do here is we use OS in some other way. Okay, one more very good question coming here. Like, is it possible to make secondary? See, I'll just try to show you one thing. The same question is coming again. In a hard disk, In one hard disk, we can make 4 partitions. How many partitions? Only 4. Suppose if you make one primary, okay, this primary is for your OS. And which partition is this? C partition. Second one is also primary. If you make second one also primary, here also there is a operating system, and this is your which drive? D drive. If you make third partition also primary, this is which OS here? This is E drive. There is some other OS. And suppose fourth also you made primary. This is also for your OS. C, D, E, and this will be like F. So we have 4 partitions here. That's it. Now no more partitions are possible. No more partitions are possible here. But when you see your computer here, friends, normally in majority of computers, one primary partition will be there, which is like C. But there is only one operating system running in your machine, right? Whether it is your machine or my machine, there is only one operating system. So this one primary partition is C. Now the second partition is actually called extended partition. Extended partition, we can make many actually. Extended partitions, we can make many. So extended partitions are used to save data, to save our files and folders. That is the use of extended partition. So if there is only one primary partition, there is only one operating system available in your machine, that means there is only one primary partition available. The remaining hard disk will be into like extended partition. It will be converted into extended partition. Okay, within extended partition, we have like logical drives. Extended partition, we have logical drives, so we can make many logical drives here. But suppose imagine you have 2 operating systems in your machine. That means 1 and 2 are the primary partitions. Now, can you please tell me how many more partitions you can make now? You have already created 2 partitions here. First and the second partition is a primary partition. So how many more partitions? Exactly 2 more partitions we can create here, right? So I can create one more primary partition. That is totally 3 are over. And the fourth one I can create as extended. But suppose you created 1 and 2 as primary, and third partition you created as extended. That's it. Now you cannot create any more partition there. There are totally 3 partitions. So if you are installing 2 operating system, C will be primary, D will be primary. Okay. Then we have the third partition is extended. Under extended partition, we can create logical drives. Under extended partition, we can create many logical drives. So like this we have to do. Now, for some reason, suppose you are formatting D drive. This is D drive and you have like format. So once you format the D drive, whichever operating system was there in the D drive, it will be removed from your machine. But the partition that is C, the partition that is C, the operating system that is there in C, it will be still running. Okay. D you have already format. So D partition will be removed. D operating system will be removed and D partition will be empty now. Okay. So C partition is still available with the operating system. So your machine will work. The machine will run perfectly. There is no problem. But suppose by mistake, you have formatted C drive. Once you format your C drive, you know, it will format your C drive as well as it will not work with the D drive. Your machine will be completely formatted now because the D drive, there is an operating system, but the bootable files are still available in C. So if you format C, the second operating system will not work here. Got it? The second operating system will not work. So C is the most important operating system. It is the operating system which contains the bootable files. It is the operating system which contains the default, the first operating system. Okay. So we should not save any files or folders in the C drive. So if you save any files or folders in the C drive, then you know, if the operating system is corrupt, your files and folder, everything is gone. I hope you understood this scenario, like how many partitions we can create now. In a hard disk, we can create 4 partitions. Actually, there are 2 partitions. One is primary and another one is extended. But in total, how many we can create? 4. So if you create 4 primary, that's it. There is no option of extended. If you create only 1 primary, the second will be extended. If you create 2 primary, the third will be extended. If you create 3 primary, the fourth will be extended. Okay. So normally 1 primary and the second extended will be created and others will be created as logical drives. So I hope this concept is clear. Let me just go there and check it once. So I have like only C partition here. Okay, there is one more question coming here, like what is the difference between admin center and server manager? It's a very good question again, Suraj, but for that we need to start our server first. There is something called Active Directory Administrative Center and there is a server manager. Actually, admin center is there in server manager, Active Directory Administrative Center. So this question I can answer you when we go with the server. See, what we have to do here is the next topic actually is we need to install the server operating system. So after installing the server operating system, I will give the demo on the server operating system, like what options are available in the server operating system and what is the difference between a client OS and a server OS. Then I will answer this question, Suraj, because it will be there clearly on your screen. So it will be more easier for you to understand the difference between the admin center and a server manager. What I can say only one thing, whatever we do in our machine, in our server machine, everything we go to server manager and we do the configuration there. Okay. Fine. So see here, partitions and all these things I have done. I just show you one thing today before I finish the class. Tomorrow I hope I can show you the installation part tomorrow, but today there is no time. So see here, please. DVDs, like I showed you, DVDs we can take from like anywhere. We can just go to some we can just order DVD from any partner, or you can find DVDs anywhere, but you know DVDs will get scratches. So if you get a scratch on a DVD, it is not easy to use the DVD, or in many cases the DVD will not work. So what these software companies are doing here is, for many years, it is not like they started recently, they are doing this for many years. They are offering you the software in an image file. It is called ISO image. So if I go to Google and if I say Windows Server 2016 ISO. If I go to server and if I say Windows Server 2016 ISO, then see, it will redirect you to the first website here. It is Microsoft.com website actually. Okay, so just go to this Microsoft.com website. So once you go to the Microsoft.com website, it is showing you Windows Server 2016 here, right? But can you say 19 as well as 2022? Both the options are available here. Okay, so go to this Windows Server 2016 because that is what we are learning here, and select the option ISO. So once you select the option ISO, that means you are downloading Windows Server 2016 ISO image, which is free for 180 days. Evaluation mode is for 180 days. So this ISO image we can use for how many days? 180 days. Okay, so then say continue here. So once you say continue, it will ask you to enter some names and all those things. So after entering names, Just enter any name and company name, job title, whatever you can enter, just enter the name and say continue. So then when you say continue here, it will download this ISO image in your machine. It will download this ISO image in your machine. So by using this ISO image, we can do all the practicals. Okay. So if you want to download, what you have to do, just go to Google and say Windows Server 2016 download and click on this Windows Server 2016 here. It will just click on the first link there. It will take you to this Windows Server 2016. Select this ISO. You should not select Azure or Virtual Lab. You should go with this ISO image and click on continue. Enter the details and again click on continue. So the download process will be done. The file size of Windows Server 2016 is 6.49 GB. Approximately 6.49 GB. So if you get the file with that much size, that means your download is 100% successful. See, this is from Microsoft website, right? We are not downloading from any XYZ website. This is free for 180 days. This is free for 180 days. So we can use this. So 180 days means 6 months, right? So you can do all your practice in 6 months. Then you can delete. Okay. So like this, see, I have already downloaded in my machine. Let me just show you here. This is my Windows Server 2000 image. So if I right click and go to properties, how much is the size here? Say 6.49 GB. This is the size of this particular ISO image. Okay, there is a question here like any limitation of creating logical drives. Actually you can go up to like some thousands actually. You can use from CDE up to Z, then A1, B1 like this. You can go up to like some thousands. No one will create that much, but still, yeah, there is a limit, but the limit is in thousands. Thousands of logical drives can be created. But you should have that much, size in the hard disk and all those things. It depends on the operating system also. If you go with like the Linux operating system, there are like some 60 or so logical drives you can create. So it depends. It depends on your OS and many other things. Around 60 logical partitions can be created. Yeah. 60. Okay. So just try to download this software, friends. Just download from this Windows Server 2000. Download this Windows Server 2016 software. And tomorrow I will show you how to practice your Windows Server administration, where you can install. You should not install in your physical machine. Just try to download, please. You should not install in your physical machine. How to install, where to install, that I'll show you tomorrow. By using this VMware Workstation software, we can do all the practicals. This is a VMware Workstation here. So I will show you tomorrow what is VMware Workstation, what is its virtualization and all those things. Then I'll show you how to do all the practicals in this particular VMware Workstation. This is actually virtualization concept. So this virtualization concept we will use to do all practicals. Okay, so tomorrow we will see brief introduction of virtualization, brief introduction of cloud computing, and then we will see the OS installation. If I install 3 OS, then also can I create logical drives? Of course, logical drives. See, if you install 3 operating system, the 4th one will be extended, right? Under extended, the logicals will come. So yeah, if you install 3 operating system, the 4th one will be logical. Still, you can go with like 60 partitions. Logical will come under extended partition. Extended is one partition. Under extended, you can have many logical partitions. And Suraj, if voice is not coming in your machine, there must be some problem in your machine, because all the other people are able to hear me. There is no problem from my side actually. If there is some problem from my side, no one can hear me. So just try to like disconnect and connect your headphone or a earphone. Hopefully things will be working for you. And coming to this session, friends, this is like again a demo session. Demo means the basic session before we enter into the administration. We have to see all the basics. We have to cover the basics. Then only the administration will be easy for us to understand. Okay, so tomorrow, people who came for the first day today, and if they want to go back and see all the videos, again the basic videos, whatever, see most of the things I have repeated today, and still if you want to go and revise those videos, please go to the YouTube channel of Durgasoft and just go to this recorded classes here. Go to this YouTube channel, go to this videos option. You can see the videos here, like the last video of MCSE was, or go to like playlist actually. See, this is the these are the MCSE videos. So you can just go through these videos one by one, and you can like be ready for the tomorrow's class. Tomorrow is also the installation part. As I said you, tomorrow is again about the operating system. Demos are over actually yesterday only, Ranjish. Demos will be like only for the introduction. This is actually part of our course. What we are learning here is part of our course, but this is like, you know, basics of your administration. Before we move into the base administration, this is the basic. VMware software I'll share with you tomorrow, Harish. I'll share with you tomorrow. Just okay. Can you do one thing, please? I'm sending my mail ID in the chat box. Okay, this is my mail ID, friends. So just ping me on this mail ID. I will share the VMware software, as well as I'll share all the other things that are needed for us. So just ping me on that mail ID. Okay, there is one more question here, like why the maximum partition is 4? Why not more than 4? There is a very technical answer for this, DFT. There is something called MBR, actually, Master Board Record, and it has a size of around 64 bytes. So for that reason, you know, each partition will take around 16 bytes. So for that reason, only 4 partitions can be installed, 4 primary partitions can be created, and 4 operating systems can be installed in a single machine. Okay, this is the technical answer. There is something called MBR, Master Boot Record. Because of that, we can create only 4 partitions in a single, 4 primary partitions or 4 partitions in a single machine. Okay. And I hope you can see my mail ID there. So please ping me on that mail ID so that I'll make a group. I'll make a folder in the Google Drive, and I'll share all the documents and all the things that are needed for our session. Okay, fine. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks again for joining today. So we are already into our classes. Demos was like, you know, 1 or 2 days. So we are already into the classes, but these are not administration classes. These are like before administration. We are like, you know, preparing ourselves for the administration. So from tomorrow Or tomorrow also there will be the class about the operating system only. We will see the installation of operating system tomorrow. Okay, friends, so that's it for today. Have a nice day and see you tomorrow at same time, 11:30 a.m. And please don't try to ping me on this mail ID. Okay, bye. Thank you.